Alright, welcome back to third and final game of this StarCityGames Invitational Qualifier. Been pretty lopsided matches so far, unfortunately. I'd like to see something a bit closer.
I think game 3 should be fine. Should be good. They've both seen each other's decks a couple of times. They definitely know what the go-to cards for the sideboard.
Oh, yeah. It's like deciding whether or not they want to keep their opening hands. Both keep.
No champions all 3 games.
Yeah. Alright. 2, 3. First turn ponder. I see a Snapcaster there. And a Dismember. Draws, looks like a Geist of St. Traft. Yep. And passes the turn to Paul. Isolated Chapel. And 2. Gather the townsfolk. So a couple of humans for Paul. Bryan starts off. This is turn 2 by saying go. Looks like just a draw go game so far. Probably is I saw the mana leak in his hand, so he's definitely gonna be wanting to use that. Two more for Honor the Pure. Bryan says no to the Honor the Pure. He doesn't want to be taking 4 on turn 3. But he only takes the 2, goes to 18. Plays a Moorland Haunt and a Geist before saying go ahead. With no pumps out, it's tough for Paul to get the damage through that Geist.
Yep.
So he plays a Vault of the Archangel. That's going to be coming in handy here. If he gets one more land, and he can start using that Vault.
Yeah. I guess his only option is to not attack and do the double block, but that doesn't do much good if Bryan has a Vapor Snag.
I know he's Restoration Angel in hand. I'm guessing he swinging in here with with the Geist. I'm assuming he's got the Vapor Snag. Yep. Yeah, I see the Vapor Snag. Yep. Getting rid of that token, keeping his Geist alive, and having Paul lose an additional 1 on top of it.
Pretty sure that other token should be off the board, though.
Yeah. Why is that? Well, I guess no one caught that token. It should have been dead from lethal damage there. I'm not sure why, but I guess human error. As we see the 5th land from Paul, making that Vault of the Archangel active. Deciding on what he wants to do here. C5 for Elspeth Terrell. Resolves and decides to make 3 1/1 tokens with it for attacking for 1, taking Bryan down to 17. Through his vast array of tokens, looking for the correct ones. There's the soldiers. Bryan starts his next turn.
I don't see Elspeth surviving.
Well, the Angels should be taken around here. Paul's tapped out. He just has the ground guys. So at the very least, the Angel will take out the Elspeth, but he's still swinging with the Geist. So it looks like Paul might want to double block. He does double block the Geist. Let's see if Bryan has an answer here. You know he has the Restoration Angel in hand. See if he decides he wants to use that now. Maybe saw the Dismember. Maybe he's thinking of using that at this time. But nope, he goes... waffles on it, but then decides just to go for the Restoration Angel to save his Geist. Angel takes out Elspeth, and looks like Bryan just says go ahead. Alright, well, as good as the things on Bryan's side are, I mean, as long as that Vault, I mean, it can really swing the game, especially if he gets an Anthem out. Mulling over the options here. Intangible Virtue. Fortunately not enough to keep the Vault active, but does make all of his guys bigger and just passes the turn. Or does he? He does. Still alive over there?
Yeah. I'm still here.
Alright, Bryan weighing his options. Are you a fan of the Restoration Angel, Matt?
I love it. Super valuable card. Flash blocker. Flickers character or creatures. Excuse me. Creatures that have come into play effects. Resets them. So even if you don't block with her, you can block with your reset character. She's a creature. She's so valuable. Especially with Snapcasters.
Snapcaster. Speaking of Snapcaster, brings back the Mana Leak to Mana Leak out that Midnight Haunting. That definitely would have been very good for Paul with that Vault.
So now he has the mana for the Vault, but so I think he holds back. I mean, at the very least, he'll take the damage from the Restoration Angel, but he can kill any other attackers.
True, but he's got more guys on the board, so I mean, and his guys have vigilance. So
that's true.
They could just sit back and
I think he attacks here. He attacks with everything here, and then vaults at any blockers.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the smart play.
I would agree because he would anything that would block would just die, and then he would just gain 8 on the additional to the damage that he's dealing. I guess he's thinking it over, deciding what he wants to do. Bryan does have that 1 mana open, so he might be thinking there's a Vapor Snag or maybe the Dismember. Who knows? Maybe he just wants to play it safe here. Because Vol is also very good on the defensive.
Oh yeah.
Oh, decides to go with everybody.
Okay,
snap blocks.
Snap blocks, all 3.
1 token looks like it could get going through. And
no vault.
No vault. That's interesting. I'm not sure why he didn't activate the vault there. I mean, he would have at least gained the 8 life. Depends on what's in his. He's got the 1 card, but I'm shocked to see that he would have killed the angel as well. Huh. Possibly just a big mistake by Paul's. Swings for 3. It sends Paul down to 12. And then Dungeon Geist taps down the soldier. Oh man. Bryan's starting to build up a board. And turn Midnight Haunting. Well, that's he kept back on the vault for the Midnight Haunting, which makes sense, but actually it doesn't really make that much sense at all.
Not really. He could have cast the Midnight Haunting on his turn if he really needed to. Unless he has another Restoration Angel in his hand, the Dungeon Geists couldn't have tapped it, or couldn't have tapped both of them. So he would have had a blocker for each flyer.
Paul deciding what he wants to do here, keeping in mind that his tokens at least have vigilance. He does send them both in. Block, and now he activates the vault, killing the Dungeon Geist. Bearing in mind that Bryan could have a Vapor Snag, he wants to. Oh, Vapor Snag. Oh, Dismember. Killing the 1 token that goes through. And the Dungeon Geist and the other token will trade, while Paul gains 2, going to 14. Bryan going all the way down to 3. That Dismember. So, despite
one thing I like to do in the situations that Paul's in is if I have plenty of mana and I feel like I'm drawing more lands, I'll hold them just to make my opponent think around the cards I have.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Paul doesn't have the most amount of instants, but we saw he has a Doomblade. He's got Midnight Haunting. He's got plenty of land already. He might not have even needed to play that. Give something to at least give Bryan to think about. Maybe second guess, not attack, and give him some more time. But looks like Bryan just played a ponder and says go. And he's going through his tokens. He's got that Moorland Haunt. He could be starting to build up an army of tokens. Sends 1 in. The soldier blocks the angel. Activates the vault. Sending Paul up to 16. Alright, says go ahead, end of turn. Makes that spirit token. Pass it to Bryan. Oh, I see a Consecrated... Ooh, is there... I see there's that Consecrated Sphinx. Is there possibly another one? I thought I saw another one in his hand. Attacking Paul, taking him down to 15, which is the spirit. But at this point, this is very good for Bryan. For every card that... I mean, Paul has no cards in hand. For the one card he draws, Bryan's going to draw 2 more just to give him a huge card advantage.
I think Consecrated Sphinx is probably one of the better 6-drops in blue. If not the best 6-drop in blue.
There's Frost Titan.
Okay.
And I think that's about it. But that being said, I love seeing Consecrated Sphinx in control-type decks. I mean, there's the card advantage he nets is great. He forces your opponent to have to deal with them as soon as possible. It's like Paul has one card and he's just thinking of what he wants to do with it. I mean, spending quite a time mulling it over. It must be something that he might... looks like a Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, possibly?
I would agree.
But if it is the Sorin, and he can make the 1/1 lifelink vampire, that would be a 2/2 with vigilance. But at the same time, I mean, the Consecrated Sphinx could still just come over and kill that Sorin in one hit. And then all he'd be left with would be a 2/2 token.
I think he probably plays it and gets the emblem.
Really? I guess you guessed correctly. He does get that emblem. As Bryan actually provides the real Sorin emblem as opposed to just a proxy. Alright. At this point, with no cards in hand and no way of blocking, not even any creatures on the board, looks like the Spirit's going to go right to the Sorin. Consecrated will go towards Paul, sending Paul down to 11. And then Bryan, second main phase, tapping 6, is... Oh, another Consecrated Sphinx! This could be it. Paul has 1 card in hand, and Bryan just drew 4 for that 1 card. And it's another land, passes the turn. Anything short of a Day of Judgment, and even then, I don't know if that'd be enough with the Moorland Haunt.
Yeah, Moorland Haunt would just...
Swings for 9, sends Paul to 2. Paul looks at the top card, while Bryan draws 4. It's going to take a miracle for Paul. I don't think he runs Entreat the Angels. Cha-cha-cha. Lingering Souls.
Well, that's close.
That's up.
It's not going to get him there.
I could buy him some time. Mana Leak. And he just bins it. He had enough to pay the 3, even if he wanted to flash it back. But he does let it go and then flashes back again. Or excuse me, just flashes back. But doesn't even... He gets through that time. A bit surprised to see that Paul didn't pay the 3 the first time. So you got 2 2/2s. End of turn, Restoration Angel. Bringing about the Consecrated Sphinx and Vapor Snag. That's gotta be it. Bryan untaps. There's the game. Paul extends the hand. Well, thank you for joining us. abgames.com, first ever live feature match.